I know. I won't be too melodramatic about this one. I promise everybody. It's bad luck. Again, how many times we got to talk about that? Got a combination of bad luck, beating ourselves, running into a really good and hot goaltender. Just, just, it's a Kraken game. What can we say? That's a Kraken game. I'm telling you, maybe I made the joke on the podcast yesterday about how Carson Soucy should maybe stop wearing a left skate because so many pucks seem to go off of him. Maybe the whole defense should start doing that because we had one go off It's done today. It's left skate. Just wild. The puck luck on this team is so bad, so bad. Keep thinking that's going to turn around and get better, and it just never seems to. Thought Grubauer played well again. Obviously, that the one that goes off doesn't skate is hard. The Forsberg shot, which was incredible. What an incredible shot! Love seeing that just as a hockey fan. Grubauer not gonna ever really have a shot against, or an opportunity shot against a snipe like that. So I get that one, but that first one, that was kind of the leaky Grubauer that had disappeared these last couple games, and I was hoping was done, but I guess not. That's all right. Overall, the Kraken played two really solid periods. I felt like in the third things kind of started to get away from them, and that fourth goal was just one of those like when it's raining, it's pouring type situations. But overall, I liked the effort the Kraken had. I really liked them in the first and second periods a lot. The fight that they had, they were getting physical. They were matching that from the Predators. Just unlucky, and you got to play the full 60. Talked about how important that was last game in beating the Panthers. Wasn't there tonight. That's the way it is. And they went to the dirty areas a couple times. They would have net front presence sometimes, but not often enough, I don't think, especially against a goalie as good as UC Saros. Like, you have to do everything in your power to make sure he cannot do his job, short of interfering with him. You got to make sure you're taking him out of the game, because if he can see it, he's going to stop it. As we saw tonight, he made some great saves for the Predators. Going to get over to the comments here now. Joshua just stopping in to smash like and say hi. We'll watch the post game tomorrow. Have a good night, everyone. Good night, Joshua. And good morning for when you watch this tomorrow. That can go to future Joshua. Hunter, Seattle versus Puckluck. I'm telling you, Hunter, it's insane. Like, be honest with me in the comments, guys. Has anybody seen a team for such a prolonged period of time? We're talking 42 games now, where the luck has just been against them so much for so long. It's really wild. They're really embracing this whole Seattle thing. I'll tell you what, which Michael brings up here. This team collapses faster than the Mariners anytime they're in a playoff spot. Not wrong. Not wrong. Lindsay, pretty good game at times, but fell short. I don't have a ton to say tonight, so might leave early, but wanted to drop in for a little while at least. Yeah, appreciate you and everybody else stopping by. Of course, I know it's harder after games like that than it is during the huge wins like last game. I get it. But yes, happy to have you. Daros, wish we had a stat on how many shots go in off our own defenseman. I mean, do we want to know the answer though? Like really? Like really? I don't know that I want to know the answer. It might just be that much more depressing. If it truly is high. I guess it could quantify it. We could show all the other fan bases like, look, it's not entirely just cuz we're bad, but it's rough. It is really rough. Um Richter's good game. I mean, it wasn't a terrible game. I don't know if you're a Predators fan and you're giving us the GG, but it was a decent game. Like I said, I thought that they were in it for a lot of it. There was just, you could tell a switch flipped in that third period for the Kraken, and the effort was gone. Predators had it down in the Kraken zone for a long time, and you could just tell that the momentum was no longer with the Kraken at all. and the guys were kind of out of it, kind of out of it. Um, JMG missing Susie and Alexiak. We are for sure. Cannot wait for both of them to get back. Alexiak still day to day. This is from Hackstall this morning, courtesy of RJ. Alexiak day to day still, so who knows anytime now. Susie though, week to week. Don't like hearing that. Just don't like hearing that because that means it's semi-serious. Hope he's okay, of course, but was hoping he'd be back for this game, and was hoping that if he did miss some time, it wasn't going to be too much time. But sounds like if he's listed week to week, we all know how cryptic NHL teams like to keep this stuff. That if they can make it day to day, they will. So it must be something, which is disappointing. Michael, could be worse. Senators had 3 wins this many games in during their expansion season in 1992. Could be a lot worse. We have brought up that Senators team as well as some of the other old expansion teams. Right? What have we said? At least we feel like we have a chance to win any game. Anytime the Kraken start a game, we feel like we have a chance to win it. We've beaten the Florida Panthers twice. Don't know how many teams could realistically say that. I'm sure 1 or 2 can. But it just goes to show that when we're on, we can beat anybody. And it makes like tonight a little tougher, but yes, at least we feel like there's a chance. We know it can happen. We're not just signing up for a ton of L's. Didn't they finish with only like 17 wins, that Senators team, like 60 something losses? Like at least we're not, we don't feel like that's a foregone conclusion every time we turn on the TV or show up at Climate Pledge. Lindsay, I'm mostly upset that Davy Jones had to see that. That is upsetting. Obviously, he was shown on the Jumbotron, shown on the broadcast. Maybe it's just, there's still some things that we could figure out to keep his streak alive. All right, so shown on the broadcast and on the Jumbotrons, but shown on a Root Sports broadcast and the Jumbotrons, Davy Jones still undefeated at 3-0. Or well, I guess 2-0 because he wasn't on the Root broadcast last time. I mean, we could just say that Espen mucked him up. Maybe we can roll with that one. But yes, unfortunate. Was hoping we could keep his streak alive just a little bit longer, but it was what it was. Absurdly saying, oh, this one was painful. It was. I mean, I thought that obviously they get the first goal. Sweet McCann snipe, scoring on the power play. Talked on the podcast about how, as well as the Kraken had been playing, power play numbers really, really not there. Lots of opportunities on the power play, weren't capitalizing on them. Continued in this one. Like if they don't have that 5-on-3, which they did a really good job of keeping it away from the Predators on that 5-on-3. That's surprisingly hard to do if you're going to take shots like that a rebound or something isn't going to be there for a defenseman just to chuck up ice and clear. Doesn't happen too often that you basically have it in the zone for like a minute and a half like that. So good job on the Kraken. They really fought for those rebounds to make sure that they kept them and kept those Predators tired. So definitely want to give them all a shout out for that one. But McCann, huge goal there. All right, we scored first this time. Doesn't happen to us very often. I thought that was going to be an auspicious sign for the rest of the game. Not quite. I do think that the goal, right before the period ends in the first period affected them a little bit. That being said, they still played a strong second period. I think the Forsberg goal hurt a lot. I really think that took some wind out of their sails. And then was it Ekholm that scored on the wraparound off Dunn? I think that one was the kind of the nail in the coffin for the Kraken in this one. Not just from like it was the game-winning goal or whatever, but just from a, you can tell that's kind of when things turned, and the ice became pretty slanted after that one. Hunter, how about we start playing games earlier so disappointment isn't my last emotion before bed? I would be in favor of that just because I'm a morning person. Some of these games go late, and then the post-game shows go late, and it's I get it. And yes, it would be nice to it's nice when we can go to bed happy, like after last game, right? We were all so happy, remember? I'm also bummed I had some new surprises in store for the broadcast for an Emerald City dance party, but I guess those are gonna have to wait. Let's see. Sergeant Pickles, don't judge me too harshly, but I felt right after the fourth goal. I don't know if you meant left, because I know you were at the game, Sergeant Pickles. Congratulations. Um, I, I get it. I get it. Um, Nathan, each loss is a better draft pick. That is for sure. That is the silver lining to it all. Speaking of higher draft picks for the Patreon supporters, again, thank you guys very much. Shane Wright scouting report video is up. Posted that earlier today, so you can check that out. And anybody else who's interested, link to the Patreon is down below. It's Patreon supporters from the $5 tier and up have access to it, and you will have access to it a full month early before it goes out to everybody else, and that's going to continue for all the other scouting reports leading through the rest of the year, up to the draft, that is. So just throwing that one out there. Michael, new plan, sell hard at the deadline so we can sign Philip Forsberg in free agency. This free agency is pretty interesting. I don't think that there's any like grade A, like, oh my gosh, franchise changing guy out there, but there's a lot of that second tier. Philip Forsberg, elite sniper. Totally saw that tonight, right? Johnny Gaudreau. Or is Johnny Gaudreau next year? I forget. We talked about a lot about him on one of these, and I don't remember if we determined that he was the year after that. But I do know that the list goes on, but beneath Forsberg, there's a lot of guys this upcoming free agency that can make a difference, and it'll be interesting what the Kraken decide to do with the cap space that they're going to have, and obviously with a lot of the Kraken players with expiring contracts, especially at forward. So it'll be interesting to see. Sergeant Pickles, was too many breakaways and solid chances that miss entirely or starting into the guts. I mean, I know what you mean about the solid chances that just go completely off. Like, Eberle had one, again, just open net. Just get it on net, it goes in. It was a one-timer, I think, on one of their later power plays later in the game. Just get it on net. I can't tell you how many times Jordan Eberle has missed the net recently. Oh, it's brutal. Brutal. And he's not alone. Obviously, McCann has a, ridiculously quick wrist shot. Like, that thing, you can't even see it in person. It's insane. He misses a lot, too. But I think that's partly just it's so strong that thing just gets up and goes on him. But there's other guys, too, that it's just, we were unlucky as far as the few point shots we had tonight. Not as many as I would have liked to have seen. Just not getting through traffic. It happens. That's part of the deal with those. But yes, I mean, there are times when they might have a chance, with a cross ice feed or something, and guys just can't quite get it on net, and it's unfortunate. They're not super mad at a 500 homestand. I'm not mad about it either. I mean, I said, for me, huge win if we can go 500 the rest of the season. That to me proves that everything can be okay. It was strictly just a matter of this team being thrown together kind of last minute. And not having that off-season program and all of that stuff with each other. So I will take this 3-2 this last little bit. I'll take that. I think they've played really good games in that stretch as well. Those 3 wins were not nothings. They weren't just beating up on the 92 Senators when they did that, right? So I'm still happy with the overall, how it all went as well. Richter Schuh, tough angle on that Forsberg shot, I would assume you're referring to. Let me go up to some. I would guess you're meaning on the Forsberg shot, maybe, or the Dunn skate thing, maybe. But yeah, I mean, that Forsberg shot was insane. Absolutely insane. Like, just, there's nothing you could say about it other than it was fantastic. I know it hurt the Kraken. I'm sorry, everybody, but that was a sick shot. It was they put it up, right, shot of the game before a whole period. There's a whole period left, and they were already like, nothing's gonna beat this, and they were right. Davies' workload is too high. We need a backup Poochie named Ryan Dognato, so they can alternate between starting and backup Pooches. I like that, Striatic. That could work. That could work. I think you're onto something there. Kraken Hawk, we're up, we're down, we're up, and we're down again. So is life, right? Uh, that's just the experience. Unfortunately, hard game. I know, especially after the absolute high of last time. That being said, at least this wasn't a total bottom. We've experienced those. Just the absolute rock bottom games. This didn't feel like that. Maybe the third period kind of had some of that to it, just from like well, they're not, they don't seem really up on it, but I think things are still okay, and I'm looking forward to this road trip and see what they can do. Victor Shu, or Shao Shu, I would assume. They looked tired to me down the stretch and looked like they were hoping a goal would fall into their lap. I agree with that. That's what I'm saying. After that fourth goal, for sure, they were just out of it. Just completely out of it. I felt like after the third goal, even, they were just kind of out of it too. They looked beat. They looked tired. The effort wasn't there, and that's when you notice, spending a lot of time in the Kraken zone, the last third, for that last period, just the way it goes sometimes. Let's see, Ty, I'm just here so you don't miss me. Thought we were trying to get a little too fancy and beating ourselves again. On to the next one. Certainly making way too many passes when you have the goalie pulled and 2 minutes to get 2 goals. Got to start shooting the puck. I understand that you might turn it over and then they have that shot at the empty net, but that's the whole deal. Like, you got to score. You can pass it around and control the clock for a full 2 minutes, but this isn't overtime and you're waiting for a shootout. Game will just end and you will lose. Like, you're going to lose either way. If you're just going to pass it around and control the clock, you're going to lose because you're down by 2 goals. If you take a bunch of shots and they don't go in and they manage to get a rebound and they send it down and it goes into the empty net, guess what? You're going to lose, but you were going to lose anyway. So the whole point of that is to kind of go for broke, right? That's the whole point of pulling your goaltender, is because you're desperate and you're going for it. You're not just conceding that, yep, we're just going to try 5-on-5 to make up a 2-goal deficit late in the game. No, you're pulling the goalie because you want to go for it. Go for it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Big deal. You're going to lose the game anyway. So I like the teams like Florida, right? Like, they went off on us trying to win that game late. Absolutely, like crazy, right? And Grubauer had to be otherworldly to keep it from happening. Let's put their goalie into that situation. That's all I'm saying. Also, Ty, I saw your message at the very end of the last broadcast. I appreciate the offer, and if I want to take you up on that later about the Portland stuff, the Winterhawks stuff, I will let you know. But that was very kind of you. Sergeant Pickles, 3 studs, Larson, Kaner, and Blackwell. Larson for sure. Jared McCann had a really good game. Blackwell had a good game. Kuhlman had another good game. Appreciate seeing that. I'm trying to think who else I might give it to. I again liked Appleton. I thought Donskoy played well. Yarncrook was fantastic on the penalty kills. He had a really, really good game too. I like that. I might throw him in there personally, especially because it's kind of like a revenge game. So, but yes, I like the Larson and McCann there from you, Sergeant Pickles. Kraken Hawk, ESPN put up that the Kraken are the only team that has had all of their defensemen score at least 1 goal. That is an amazing stat and should give the rest of the league pause for the coming years. It is very interesting, especially because they've got 8 defensemen. Like, they're carrying more defensemen than a normal team would, or usually teams do. So that's extra impressive. It shows how deep they are. It's kind of surprising too, though, because it's like we don't see them shoot from the point very often. A lot of these goals have been the defenseman walking in, either collecting a rebound, being there, making a read, kind of similar to what Larson did today, or just walking in and kind of sniping, like the Dunn goal from a couple games ago, where it was just there was some space there and he took the space, came in, and was able to use that to his advantage. I do think it's an interesting stat. It's one of those, certainly you want to push that narrative out there, because then, yes, if the opposing team wants to have to use a forward that's got to play up to try to take out the Kraken defenseman. That can open up some passing lanes for us underneath. I like that. And it shows that, when we get net front presences, when we get traffic in front of a goaltender, it helps. It works. Let's do it more. did it a few times tonight. Donato definitely trying to get that done. Just, like I said, the couple times that everything was lining up, it just, shots weren't getting through all the way. It happens sometimes. Lindsay, what are the odds that Kuhlman scores his first goal as Kraken before Donskoy? I love Donskoy's effort tonight, and he really looked like he was going to get one before the curse continues. But the curse continues. It's entirely possible. Kuhlman's shooting a lot. I like that. He has that shooter mentality of, I'm just going to put it on net and we're going to, good things will eventually happen if I do that. Donskoy, we've seen him, right? He has passed up taking lower quality shots in order to pass to a teammate that has a higher quality shot. I'm never going to get on somebody for doing that. But yes, this curse, I just feel so bad for him. And it's just turned into such a sticking topic, hasn't it? But yeah, I think it is possible that we do see Kuhlman score first. I really do. It'll be interesting if that does happen. Obviously, all 8 defensemen have scored before him, so that's also one. I do wonder in the locker room how much ribbing he gets about it. Like, I'm sure at some point, 15 games in, right? Like, oh, when are you going to score, right? Now, I don't know that anybody wants to say anything about it. I don't know. That would be something that I'd be curious about. Kraken Hawk, at least your Bengals beat a Nashville team. That we did. And we got to go beat a Kansas City team. Isn't that where the Scouts are from in Slapshot, right? So we just got to go beat Paul Newman. Easier said than done. 4 Horsemen can't stay long. Fairly empty arena tonight. I noticed that too. It's at least hard to tell on my TV sometimes with all the dark uniforms, like everybody wearing the home jerseys, which I love that everybody does that. Makes it a little hard on my TV, but I did notice at times. That being said, watching the stuff from around the leagues during the intermissions on the ESPN broadcast, a lot of empty barns tonight, especially that New Jersey one. But I don't know if that's because of COVID protocol stuff. I don't know. Obviously, the Canadian ones are pretty empty because of that. Pleasantly surprised that the ESPN broadcast think this was the least annoying Kraken game by them. No chicken parm tonight, lol. Dom Moore auditioning to be the Kraken special teams coach. Interesting idea, reading ID. I didn't think about that with Dominic Moore. It could be. He had some good takes tonight. And yes, I did like this game from them. And this was their, quote unquote B team. But I've always been a Leah Hextall fan. Think she's fantastic. I like the work that she does. And yes, it did. It felt much more subdued than the last Espen game we had. That was pretty... I mean, we at least had fun with it in the post game. That's all good I can say about that one. But I feel like they've toned down on all the crazy camera angles that they're constantly trying to do just to show off that, hey, we've got 17 cameras set up for this. It's like, okay, half of these are angles we never would want, so why? Wasn't a lot of that tonight, and as you said, there wasn't just random dumb stuff being talked about throughout the game, so very appreciative of that. You bring up good points, reading ID. Ty, Lindsay, the chances may be higher than we would like, lol. Yes, talking about Kuhlman scoring first, I agree. JMG, looked like Susie was in a walking boot, not good. Yes, I don't know for sure. I will check with RJ when he comes in, but like I said, that week to week, that's scary. I don't like that. Sergeant Pickles, all right, we got his 3 duds now. Forsberg, nasty snipes, rolling snake eyes on every single breakaway, and letting my in-person record slip to 1-2. That is clearly the worst thing to happen tonight, by far. I think we can all agree on that one. Yes, the Forsberg snipe, ridiculous. The puck luck, terrible. Again, on the breakaways, right? It's just, it's wild to me that it's continued so long. I've said that all year. You guys have heard me say that all year. It's crazy how long that stuff has just hung around for this team. 4 Horsemen, that Forsberg goal was wow. Couldn't blame Grew on that one. No, you can't blame him on that Forsberg goal. That's just, it's sick shot. Like I said, it's a sick shot. Like Borgen's play a lot today. It was interesting. I didn't notice him a lot. I don't know. I knew he was playing and I was looking for him and I just could never I was just never finding my eye drawn to him that much. Um yeah, so I mean he did a good job. The a lot of the times when I noticed him, it was him keeping pucks in the offensive zone. Did a good job of that, and I do think that that was key to the Kraken's success earlier in the game. Getting pressure on Nashville, forcing Nashville to kind of slow down and not be able to be aggressive physically, right? They have to be a little more reactionary, play a little bit more passive because you're really controlling things in, their defensive zone. And I felt that that was one of the things that they did really well tonight, and that was one of the keys to why they were successful early on. And Borgen did play a role in that, uh, a big role in that when he was out there. So I will definitely give Will Borgen that. Kraken Hawk, I would love to see Philip Forsberg on the Kraken next season. He's a constant, solid goal scorer. We do need that, and that stash will blend in nicely in Seattle. We have cap space. Let's do it, Ron. I would love to see Forsberg here next year. I think that would be fantastic. He's clearly what we need. I mean, we don't. I mean, McCann can do that, and McCann, had a great goal tonight. But oh man, could you imagine? Could you imagine having Forsberg on this team? That would be sick. But RJ's able to join us, so I'm going to go over and grab him, and then we can talk about that with him, what he thinks our chances are of maybe getting him. So be right back, everybody. All right, RJ. Ugh, another brutal one.
Yeah, I mean that one was tough for some different reasons than the last few losses. Kind of, definitely had a different tone than say the Blues game. You know, after the presser, it seemed like because we only got McCann and Hackstall, and they both kind of were happy with the effort. I mean, Hackstall said, we played a really good game. We played our tails off. And I do have to agree with that assessment. I think the Kraken did a lot of things right. They gave a good effort. But sometimes it just doesn't go your way, against a skilled team like Nashville.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like they had a really, really good effort through the first two periods, and maybe at the start of the third, there was clearly a moment where
That's
things
true. At the
just.
end, yes, for sure, where it just tailed off in the third. Yeah, where it's like, okay, we're not getting this done, and they
Oh, did we lose you?
like to have a lead
Oh,
by
there
that
we go.
point. Yeah, I think the way that it was talked about is you kind of like to have a lead by that point. And I thought one of the more interesting things was that Hackstall was not shy about saying that this was not Grubauer's best game. He said on the first goal and even the second one, he's got to have that. He's got to stop that. And he was saying, for the first period, he said we played a really good first period. We put in a lot of work, and that's one where you really want to go into that with a lead at the intermission. It was very important to get there, and he lets in a goal on what I think he called like a nothing play.
Yeah, that first one, it was that was Leaky Grubauer again.
Yep.
But interesting that he would
Yeah.
say that about the Forsberg goal.
I know. I tend to think of that as just a heck of a shot by an elite player. I mean, what a shot that was. But yeah, no, he mentioned that. He said, on the first one he's got to have that. He's like, well, and the second one too. So he didn't like that one. He's like, I know it's a good player. I know it's a really good player coming across, but he saw it all the way, and it was from the outside.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I get that. I don't know. Maybe his angle was slightly off. I don't know how you stop that one. Having to
yeah,
drop
I mean,
into
kind of.
butterfly, there's no way you can get your hand up like that.
It is a difficult one for sure. I mean, I'm in agreement with you
Yeah, no,
there. It
I
just
know.
seemed kind of like reading between the lines, like he might have been a little frustrated that he'd like to get an extra save there, given the effort that his team had put in.
For sure. I mean, speaking of Forsberg, What do you think our chances are maybe going after him this offseason?
He froze.
Uh, you here? You there? RJ?
Wait. All right, sorry, you just came back. Were you asking what the chances are of getting Forsberg?
Yeah. Well, what do you think the chances are that they'd go after him?
I mean, I on the one hand, I think he's exactly what the team needs right now. I think
Mm-hmm.
he just fits perfectly what this team is missing in just about every way. I can't think of a better guy in the entire free agent class that really fits that. Um, on the other hand, again, it'll depend on what Ron Francis feels this team's window is. Because if you're going for 2-3 years from now as your window, or maybe beyond that, then he just doesn't make sense, kind of given his age and where he's at in his career. It's kind of like the signings that we saw this past off season, with Schwartz and Wenberg and whatnot, where it just doesn't really fit the timeline if you're going further into the future. But I think certainly if you're looking to improve the team right now, there's no better guy you could bring in. His contract is up.
I agree. Four Horsemen. Blackwell played really well too. Great individual plays to create lanes for shots. Yeah, do you have a 3 stars off the top of your head, RJ? I know I'm dumping
Ooh,
that on
let's
you real
think.
quick.
I think Blackwell's worthy of that conversation. Um, I'm interested in what you thought of Adam Larson this game.
I liked Larson in this game.
I
I had
agree,
him as one of
and
my 3.
I didn't see what his final ice time was, but I know he had consecutive 2-minute shifts, one on the PK and one before that.
Yes.
He was playing some big minutes, some tough minutes, so I might throw him in there. Um, and then I thought Yarncroke, he had another really good game. He's just stayed hot.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I thought Yarncroke, he was the one I brought up, and McCann, right? Like
Yep.
he had a really solid game as well. All right, Brian. Hello, my friends. Chiming in from North Carolina. That's one of those games where I looked up and we lost. You either have the juice or, well, you don't. Not awesome, but I love ECH hockey. Appreciate the kind words as always, Brian. Yeah, it was just one of those nights. The puck luck was terrible yet again.
Yep, absolutely. Puck luck, and I'm sure you brought that up earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Just one of those rough nights in that regard.
Yeah. Michael, bright spot, McCann and his shot. His shot is crazy good. If he keeps this pace, what are we looking at? AAV 6, 6.5, 7. I've gone on record. I think 6 to 6.5.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think we pretty settled on that.
Think Jake Gensel. Just to stick with the Penguins.
There you go.
I think that's a good comp too. Hunter.
Oh yeah, you know what? Oh, sorry.
Go.
There was real quick. There were some Preds jerseys you could see. Obviously some Preds fans here, and next to a section of Preds fans, there was a guy in a Penguins jersey, and it blended in so well. But I just noticed it as he stood up. I'm like, huh, all right, he's blended in okay.
Was it a player jersey?
Huh?
Was it a player?
Yeah, it was
jersey?
Who? Yeah, I didn't see what player it was.
Oh, okay.
I think it was Malkin. I thought I saw a 7, so like a 71. It looked like to me. But yeah, he was just on the end of a row of Preds fans, and with the yellow and the black, I don't know,
yeah,
it kind of worked.
Yeah, interesting. Hunter, still no mascot, and it's almost February. Sigh. I know. Again, they go with the teasers. Get here early, everybody. And
I
yes,
knew
it's
it
good.
Was not going to be a mascot reveal.
I know, and it was cool to see Tanev and everything. But like, they kind of stopped doing that to everybody.
I know. Seriously, if it's not the mascot, stop having the mystery about it.
Yes. JMG ordered my Davy Jones T-shirt from Simply Seattle. Good for you, JMG.
Well, actually, hang on though. We have a Davy Jones T-shirt that actually Dylan's hearing this for the first time. I just put it up. It's on the ECH store. Haven't even promoted it yet because I just did it in the third period of this game. But it is up there. You'll see it on our store if you want to check it out.
Yes, link of course in the description below to all of our great merch. Lindsay, also, why do you say it Pen instead of the letters ESPN?
Espen.
Espen.
Oh yeah. Finally calling you out on this.
Yeah, it's Espen. Is that a thing in California or just a Dylan thing? I guess it's a Dylan thing.
It's just a Dylan thing, Lindsay. It's a Dylan thing, Lindsay.
It's Espen though. Like that, they call it Espen on the network.
Do they? I don't think so.
Not during maybe the hockey broadcast, but I've heard it. Several people on the network call it Espen. Like they totally do that.
Interesting.
I think it's one of those things that they used to do more. I think that like when they did the big
Oh,
shift,
okay.
when Disney kind of cleared house up top, I think they really
Yeah.
started with the where ESPN. But back in the day, like go back and watch like old, Monday Night Football stuff. It's Espen. Like that's what they always said. It's I don't know. Let's see. I had no idea that that was like a thing. I just thought like both were completely acceptable and everybody used them interchangeably. No idea. I was off on an island, I guess. Sergeant Pickles, at a certain point, we should only talk about draft order and prospects after tough losses. I appreciate the dedication to analysis, but I'm starting to get broken record syndrome. I feel you, Sergeant Pickles. Just got to do my due diligence of breaking down what happened.
Hmm.
But I 100% understand. Absurdly saying, am I the only Kraken fan who doesn't particularly care if when we get a mascot? Uh, maybe I don't know. I'm
Probably.
at this point. At this point, I've become pretty apathetic to the whole thing. I'm like, if it happens, great. Otherwise, Davy Jones, he's better than any mascot we're gonna get anyway.
Yep. Yeah, I'm at that point now. But back when it was, toward the end of the year, I'm like, okay, let's go.
Yeah,
So
I'm kind of down with this just being like the thing, right? Like just constantly teasing us, and it just never comes. Like let's just make it a running joke and keep this thing going.
yeah.
Um, Krakenhawk Dylan, since you're covering the Kraken now, are you ever going to move up to Seattle to attend more games? Potentially. We talked about this earlier in the year. It was maybe going to happen, didn't end up happening. It's just going to be one of those things, right? Moving is always it's one of those
Yeah.
things. Like it's
They're asking you the tough questions tonight, Dylan. You got
I know.
Espen, you got the move.
I know.
It's Grill Dylan night.
It is. That being said, I'm okay with it, and I 1,000% get it after this game too. So bring it on, everybody. I'm fine. Michael, loved the right scouting video. Think your comp for him is perfect. Thank you for the kind words, Michael. Talked about that a little bit earlier, and I appreciate you understanding the comp because I have a feeling when that goes public, there's going to be quite a few comments I get from north of the border about that one. That
Oh
maybe
yeah.
maybe won't listen to the full explanation before they start dropping comments. That being said, that'll be good for the algorithm at least. Grizza Smash, when would someone take the draft suggestion serious in terms of order from all the major outlets, starting to look at what a best second or third choice will look like? Um, I I think any time now. It's always hard with the lottery as far as kind of figuring out
Right.
where we think we're going to go. That and again, there's 40 games left.
Exactly. There's a lot of season left, and certainly in terms of draft order, I mean, a lot can move around even in the final week.
For sure. Ty Flyers now at 13 losses in a row with not an easy schedule heading towards 18. Could it happen, RJ?
It's certainly possible with this team, with that Flyers team. I mean, they're certainly in play. I think. Yeah, you've got to. If you're them, just focus on the silver linings. I just want to say congrats to Keith
I
Yandel
was gonna bring
on
that up.
breaking that Ironman streak record. That is an incredible record to break. Well done on him.
Yes, love that for him. But yes, you know what? Just let him lose for the rest of time. Be totally fine with that. Just Flyers never win a game
Okay,
again. Let's go.
Penguins fan talking now.
Richter Dunn keeps missing the net too. Yes, I mean we're talking about everybody who misses the net earlier, RJ, because there's quite a few
A
guys.
lot of shots off target in this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they get into this. I think they get into this cycle where, especially with some of these good goalies, like Yusei Saros is a very good goalie,
right.
but they feel like they have to have the perfect shot to beat him,
Yeah.
and it makes the great the enemy of the good. There, just get a shot on net, get some rebounds, crash the net, rather than trying to always pick those high corners.
Right. When again, all you got to do is get somebody in front of him so he can't see it. That works just as well.
Exactly.
It's a little easier too. No worries, Sergeant Pickles. I 1,000% understand the autocorrect. Striatic, the team needs Grubauer to play well to the end of the season, even if it costs draft positions. Our primary asset is cap space, and we need high-end scoring, and UFAs aren't attracted to bad goaltending. I think Striatic brings up a really good point there.
That is a very good point, absolutely, and that's like one of the many reasons that I think it's still good for the Kraken to be winning these games, even if they're kind of out of the playoff hunt. You're looking at being potentially a major player in the free agent market.
Oh, we lost RJ again.
This great destination now because they're going to want to go to a team that wins.
Yeah, I agree. And, I do think, depending on how the rest of the season finishes, I know Ron Francis has this longer term plan, but it would not surprise me if he gets told, hey, maybe try to speed things up a little bit.
Hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
certainly.
I think that is definitely something that could happen, a conversation that could happen. And in which case, yes, the cap space is going to be a much bigger deal. Hunter, we currently sit at third overall with a 10.9% chance for the first pick. I mean, that's 10.9% higher than our chances of making the playoffs, so I'll take that.
Just about.
Lindsay, Flyers now have a losing streak as long as their win column, 13 for both. Oof. It's
Oof. Yeah.
brutal. It is brutal. That being said, like I said, I'm not crying for him. Let's see. Heading to NYC to see Kraken back-to-back Rangers Islanders in a pending non-Easter, no Easter. Is that
Nor'easter.
some slang I'm not familiar with? It's totally possible, by the way. Um, but have fun on that because that. I mean, those should be two good games, and I like the matinees, man.
Yep, those will be fun. Morning games for us.
I know it's fantastic. I don't know how the East Coast does it. Like, how do you not have football at 10 o'clock on Sundays? It's wild to me. Valentina Yarncrook looked great tonight. Lots of hustle in the right places. He was fantastic tonight. Again, dominating on the PK. Love the revenge game from him in this one.
Yeah, he was feeling it.
Ty, for sure, let me know. You can just message me on Patreon. Yeah, I will, Ty. Thank you very much again. Valentina, I love Gru, but I felt like he should have had two of those. The first and third were almost the same shot. The third, he gets a pass because it goes off Dunn's skate. Again, RJ, a left skate. Get rid of all left skates.
I know. And Dunn was having a rough shift from earlier on too. He was facing away from the puck, facing in the corner, which was not bad. But then a shot came in, hit him in the back of the leg. You could tell that one stung him. And then not even 5 seconds later, that puck goes in off his skate.
Yeah,
He was fighting it all night.
it was pretty brutal. Alex, go Bengals, go Niners. I can get on board with that. Sergeant Pickles, I would say in person arena was maybe 85% full. Yeah, it was a little bit noticeable on this one, RJ.
Yeah, it's the last few games. There's definitely been a good amount of empty seats.
Mm-hmm. Hunter tickets were $50 when I checked before the game, so ticket prices coming down.
They are getting into about that $50 range now, pretty much every game.
Yes. Uh, Jeremiah, thank you for the super chat coming in. What's a couple beers in Seattle cost now? This should cover it. Tough L stretches where they played great. The sports beard with the little cheers emoji. Thank you very much, Jeremiah, for that. We will put it to good use.
Yes,
Uh,
thank you so much, Jeremiah.
yes, definitely appreciate that, and could use it after a game like tonight.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, what you got, Maya? As you know, I was also pleasantly surprised by Leia Hextall, considering I went in completely blind. Wasn't too mad about missing John or JT commentary. Yes, Espen tonight. First good Espen game I've watched all year long, RJ.
Good, good. Glad for you. We did not like that in the press bridge because on the nationally televised games, we do not get the root feed on our little tablets, which basically we use as like a live replay kind of
Right.
thing. Instead, we just get the feed from the Twins, which doesn't really
Oh.
show the replays or anything. So it's a lot tougher actually for us to kind of do all that work with that. But I'm glad you all enjoyed it. Certainly worth it if it's good for you guys.
Yes, I thought the commentary was good, and they've done away with just forcing ridiculous camera angles down our throats that are just
Good.
terrible. So definitely happy. That being said, it was the B team, so I generally find B teams are generally better because they're a little calmer. But yes, reading JMG Turbo in the house tonight. Yeah, I mean that had to get people fired up.
Oh, sure did. I mean, we figured that might be the special guest, and yeah, we were not disappointed. I love how he came out, back turned to the camera and everything, and all you just see is the number 13. And you're like, oh, here it is. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Let's see. Attendance feels all over the map. This is from Striatic. Blues game arena looked empty even before it became a blowout. Florida game looked packed. This one mostly full, but a little empty. I think just, time of the week and stuff plays into it as well.
Yeah, I think so too.
And
And I agree with that assessment on the last three games.
yeah, and would you say it's also like is midweek lower bowl maybe less crowded than upper bowl? Like I think that gets
Yeah,
played
for
into it
sure.
because
Yeah, I think that's the case. Also, you've got those sections like those, really lower bowl club sections, like with the glass seats and all
hmm
that are usually pretty empty all the time. So there is that as well, and those are probably most noticeable on the camera too.
yeah. Let's see. Also, popping down one strat. It could be weeknight thing, but Blues were on a Friday. Are any of these games rescheduled? I don't think we haven't hit the rescheduled games yet.
No, we have not hit those yet.
Yeah, so um, it's just it's just
Well,
what
the
it
next
is.
home game will be one of the rescheduled ones. That'll be the first one.
Yeah. On the 9th, I believe, February 9th.
Yep, that's
Alex,
correct.
Forsberg would look fantastic in a pirate hat. I cannot deny he would.
Oh, he sure would.
I mean, he's
Oh
just
yeah,
built for it.
I would
Absolutely
love to
built
see
for it.
that.
All right, RJ, here you go. You ready? I can't
Okay.
believe I don't know this by now. This is from Lindsay. But what does RJ stand for? Robert James? Reginald Jenkins? Rutherford Jethro? Can you believe she guessed it? Rutherford Jethro.
Wow, you nailed it. Actually, you had the first half right on the first guess. It's Robert J. The J is Jay. That is my middle name. So Robert J is what it stands for.
Yes. And then Sergeant Pickles asking to RJ, I know you're busy actually working, but did RJ Where's Waldo meet in the lower bowl?
I was pretty sure that I did, but I wasn't 100%. But yes, I noticed your hint there, looking just to the left of the camera. I was working with Scott Brendan and of Cheap Seat Sports. The both of us were trying to find you because I know he knows you too. So yeah, I think I did, but not 100%.
All right. Stratic, I don't like any of the national broadcast. I'm Forsland all the way now and love Allison Lucan. Enjoyment level drops whenever Root Sports isn't the broadcaster. I can appreciate that. It's always good to love the hometown team too. Ty 100% agrees.
Yeah. And shout out to Allison. Like, she is great. I just need to say that again too. She's awesome on the broadcast.
Yeah.
She came in clutch with those videos on Twitter night. She always does. And like, one of the really cool things about like doing all this, going to the practices, everything behind the scenes, like, she's pulling out those cool stats and facts just nonstop behind the scenes. What you see is only the tip of the iceberg. Getting to spend all morning skate and practice with her around, it is just awesome. She's great. She was talking about just line combinations and different ice time things this morning. I mean, it's just so educational all the time.
Yeah, there's really not enough time in a broadcast for someone who does what she does. You know what I mean? Because like
Right.
you can't have that during play-by-play, really, or stoppages. There's not enough time, and then during intermissions, you got to kind of recap things and explain what happened on any goals, that kind of stuff, and that takes up most of your time there. And that's really when the commercials come into play too, right? They got to pay the bills for everything. So yeah, it is. I can imagine behind the scenes. It must be
Like, I
awesome.
can't believe I'm getting this for free. Just,
Yeah.
yeah, it was awesome.
Alex, if Jared McCann turns into Jake Gensel with lots and lots of heart eye emojis, I agree. And I mean, he's kind of there if you think about it. This is from George. Strategy behind moving Yanni to the wing and playing Callie at center.
Is that what they were doing?
I didn't think that that's what they were. I mean, I know Yanni was outside a
Well,
lot.
yeah, he was. And what'll happen on a lot of these lines where they have kind of two guys who can play center, and we saw this with Geeky and McCann on a line together
Mm-hmm.
earlier in this season, is they'll kind of split the center duties, especially some of the defensive responsibilities, and it'll really be just like F1, F2, F3. As far as, just you're the first forward in, you're the second forward in, you're the third forward in, and you just do that based on who gets there first.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you have two centermen there. So that might be what you're seeing also.
Yeah,
And maybe if you're talking about taking the faceoffs too, since Gord's a left-hander there, he's going to take him on the left side. Yarn Kroka, right-hander, is going to take him on the right side.
yeah. We've talked about in the past. Boy Callie can do everything. Like just stick him so
Oh
like
yeah,
he's gonna do great. And yes, they did do that a lot earlier in the year. Alex, we got to get our paws on the DJ shirt, the David Jones shirt. Yes, we do. Uh,
yes.
Alex telling me it's ESPN. Ty, Yanni's been nasty as a trigger man over on the wing. I agree with that from Ty. That is where he's, really scored everything for the most part.
Yep.
Let's see. Scrolling down. Sergeant Pickles. If they don't pick one, I'm officially using Inky the cartoon squid as the mascot. I think we're good with that. I would go with that. I love Inky. Lindsay, they're going to release the mascot when Donskoy scores a goal. Could be a while still. In all honesty, which do you guys think will happen first? It's got to be Donskoy.
Donskoy. Yep. I still think it'll be Donskoy goal first.
Because I'm committed to this Kraken mascot reveal last game of the season. So I'm just going to go with that now.
What timing that would be. Here's the mascot. Season's over.
Yep. Yes, they'll do it during the second intermission of the last game of the year. We get a whole period of mascot. Alex, I may or may not have invented Inky. Seriously? Huh. You being real? You being for real right now, Alex?
All right, we need to hear more. Back that up.
Yeah. Tyler, off-topic question. I'm going to the rescheduled Islanders game and looked up their roster and saw Chara is 6'9". Is that true? That is 100% true.
Absolutely true. I mean, he is just a monster out there. Yeah, he is every bit as tall as that. I think it's like, 6'11", 7 foot in skates.
Yes.
When you factor that in too. So, yeah.
Just, after this, go on YouTube, just put in like Chara highlights just to see him standing, skating next to other players.
Yep.
1000% true.
And if you get to the game early, go to the Islanders side for warm-ups.
Yes.
You're welcome.
I was just going to say, and you got to go to warm-ups whenever, because it's just incredible. It's awesome. Let's see. Al, north of the border, doesn't it feel great to be in a league where you can say that, where Seattle weather is actually better than 7 teams? Yes.
Yep, sure does.
It is good. Valentina, Saros is one of my favorites. If we had to lose, I would have preferred that it be because Saros was dazzling. I mean, he was.
He
wasn't bad in this game, Valentina. He was
very good. I mean, there were a few times we turned to each other like, yeah, Saros for Vezina.
Yeah. Reading ID, coming back at Tyler, calling it now, Yanni Gord picks a fight with Chara.
Oh my god, he would. You know what? He would.
Talk about going up a couple divisions on that one.
I mean, start with a full foot height difference.
Yeah. You don't see that very often. Would love to see that, him just jumping up and down. It'd be really fun. Lindsay, nor'easter is the big storm impacting the Northeast, U.S. and Canada. All right, thank you for filling me in on that, Lindsay. Makes a lot more sense now. Ty, you don't fight Chara. He beats you up, then checks to see if you're okay.
Generally, he just does as much as he's willing to do, and then he'll let you go.
I know. And then Ty talking about the CPA beer prices, $16 a pop. It's brutal. Oh.
Yep.
And Jeremiah, Linda Cohen is the GOAT. Yes, Linda Cohen's good. She's wanted hockey at Espen for years, and so glad it's finally there. So Sergeant Pickles requesting a Megapod crossover with Darren and Scott.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I'd love to do that. We got our own little crew there this game in the press bridge. It was fun just, talking back and forth with them. Definitely, got some of that stuff in the works as far as getting guests on and everything. We are going to ramp that up soon.
Yes. Ty, kind of a few days ago, but did you see Ovi break Panda's mask? Guess he dented in the face mask to his cheek with a slapper. Good Lord, turned that old man down a bit. I hadn't seen that. I'm going to have to look that one up.
I did see it. It was on a 5-on-3. Takes a slap shot from just inside the blue line. Catches him right about here, kind of on the cheek. It dented the cage there. And he had to switch out. He couldn't use that mask for the rest of the game. He had to get his old mask from last season. What a shot.
I mean, I believe it. Ovechkin's got to be the favorite for this year's hardest shot, right?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
With no Chara, no Weber. It's got to be Ovi's to lose at this point, and just more examples of that. Four Horsemen, even after losses, we still have ECH. That is right. Reading ID, we need an Allison plus Dylan's whiteboard team up. Yes. Allison can have the whiteboard whenever. Go for it.
Yes, for sure.
We'll overnight it up there. I'll hand deliver it. Let's see. Lindsay, all right. Unfortunately, this working stiff has to wake up for work in the morning. Night all. Fingers crossed for a successful road trip. Good night, Lindsay. Thanks for being here. Alex, I sent a tweet suggesting the name of Inky a very long while back, but it's not exactly Shakespeare, so entirely possible someone else came up with the same. All right, so there's the explanation on Alex potentially inventing Inky. Until I hear otherwise, though, Alex, I'm going with that.
Exactly. That's a pretty good claim. I mean, that's how you hear the origins of a whole bunch of stuff. Like, oh, someone claims here, this was here. Hey, if you're the first record of it.
Yep. Go back and screenshot that in case you ever need it. Striatic, I feel like all the Kraken media reporters and broadcasters, ECH included, are just the best. If only Ruth would just put up a shot counter to cover the one obvious blight on the media experience. I know, and I'm committed. That's gonna be a thing. And when next time I go up there, RJ, next trip I go up there, I'm bringing this up.
Dylan will not let them hear the end of it. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up to every person I know that I run into that works with Root there, because I know that it's something that bothers me. Several people in our comments have talked about it, and I just feel like I'll talk to, I don't even know who I'd talk to. Run it into whoever's down in the media. Jen, Piper, like they have no power to do anything, but I guess they're gonna have to hear it.
Yep.
Sergeant Pickles, just want to see Blackwell go after Chara. Just aim for the kneecaps, lol.
Oh my god.
It's wild.
The body blows, just punch the knees.
Yeah, the other thing that's wild about Chara, besides the obvious height thing, is, I mean, how old is he? He's got to be 40, right?
Oh no, he's over 40.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
43, 42?
Yeah, he's just Tom Bradying this thing. He's just gonna play forever. Checking 44. Yeah, he's Tom Brady
44.
years old. Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely incredible.
Incredible.
Good for him. Good for him. And he's still totally relevant on the ice. It's wild.
Yep.
And not just because his reach is ridiculous. Oh man, remember him with Hamilton on Boston together?
Oh my.
Dougie Hamilton.
You couldn't cross the blue line. The sticks overlapped.
Yeah. There was just nothing there. No room. Absolutely incredible. All right, so I think that's gonna do it for this one. Tough game. Reading ID, he is the tallest and oldest player in the league. It's quite a thing to be, that's for sure. And Sergeant Pickles, time for bed. All right, yeah, so we're gonna do it on this one. Rough game, but they happen. Still had a pretty good homestand for this one. I think things are still okay.
Yeah, for sure. It was a good effort tonight, and certainly different than what we were seeing through a lot of the darkest days of the season. I think overall the team's still looking up, and I'm excited to see what they can do on this road trip.
Yes, we're still doing the 500 thing that I said is all I wanted to see. So we're still on track. We're still on track. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us as always. Again, make sure to check out the Davy Jones shirt up on the merch store, link in the description below, and check out the Patreon if you're interested in seeing that Shane Wright video early. We'll catch you all after the next one. See ya.